Good afternoon and welcome to Pinkisco. Today we're speaking with Sharif El-Gamal. He is the CEO of Soho Properties, and he's going to talk with us about a new initiative that he's going into, which is assisted living. He's got a project that he's in contract with out in Queens. And so I'd like to ask him first why he decided to do that, and welcome.
Hey, Adam. Nice to be on your show. Thank you for having me. And welcome to Margaritaville in Times Square. We're at 5 o'clock somewhere. I saw a void in the marketplace. I saw a tremendous void in the marketplace with assisted living facilities that are really providing concierge level services targeted specifically to the baby boomer sector of the market, which composes more than 30% of the population of the United States. And there's a tremendous concentration right here in the tri-state area. So we saw a tremendous void in serving that segment of the population.
And why now? Like, how come other people haven't jumped in?
I think everybody's looking at it. I think that Hines has a dedicated fund towards it. Related is looking at it very aggressively. I know that Brookfield is looking at it very aggressively right now. I think they have a dedicated fund as well. I think it's a segment of the market that has gotten a lot of attention in the last couple of years. We are seeing executions right now in New York where various facilities are getting astronomical prices per square foot for product catered with real concierge services, and we saw that this could be a really good time to enter into the marketplace.
How, just to get some idea, like what is it that a client will be paying, or resident will be paying per foot or per unit?
Well, there's an entry price. It's a per unit. Traditionally, they're studios or one bedrooms. There are some two bedrooms, but those are a much smaller quantity of those units. I think that the segment of the market that's really that has probably the strongest absorption is the one bedroom type of configuration. For the more concierge, upper scale assisted living facilities, that's the one. Those are the size units that are getting more traction. Studios in that same demographic with the same type of services that I'm just articulating are going for in Manhattan, for $12,000 to $20,000 per month as just the base rent without any of the add-on services that could be further added into the mix.
And so the increase in interest, or your interest, isn't because prices have gone down because of COVID, or prices have gone down because of something else. You would have been doing this anyway, or does that help?
I think it's a very interesting business. I think that it's a very interesting business. I think that it's very scalable. I think that it's a little bit of a pioneering business as well. We're securing a very interesting large site in Jamaica, Queens on Hillside Avenue. And it lends itself very naturally to have a unique assisted living facility that could be birthed within that site. The F train is right on the corners as well, which will allow somebody to be in the city within 20 or 30 minutes. So it's a very interesting location, and it really lends itself to serving that demographic of the population.
And how did you pick that site? Were there a bunch of places you've been looking at, and do you have like other potential sites?
I do. We're looking at something in Florida right now as well for the same program. We did look at a lot of different sites before we settled on this one, but we like the location tremendously. And real estate is location. So it was it's a very unique location.
And what else do you think you would put in the building? Like if the potential is around 400,000 feet, like what put retail in there? You put
We're definitely going to have
or-
retail. I mean, I think we're going to do some type of grocery, fresh produce type of concept. So that there will be a retail program that will be executed there. That part of Jamaica right now is really degentrifying. There are lots of demand drivers right now for residential rentals in that submarket right now, and there are 4 or 5 buildings that are very close to completion that are coming online. So the retail component of the project is extremely valuable. We are going to have obviously also a parking component as well, and then we want to see what ends up happening with the 421A program, which is set to sunset in less than a month. So have you heard anything about that? Have you heard anything about the 421? Do you have any insights on it?
No, I don't know what the latest.
I think that's the biggest question that everybody's looking to.
Would that impact assisted living, or is that?
It's not going to impact assisted living, but it would impact what we would do on the residential side,
Right.
because we are going to have a residential component to the project, and that's going to drive decisions that we're going to make around what we would do with the balance of the real estate. Absolutely.
And what kind of, I don't know what to call it, rent, or I don't know what's the term, but what do you think you could get
Income.
out there?
We could call it income. We could call
Revenue
it
per
income.
unit or whatever.
Yes.
Where's the market out there?
I think this is I think there's only 1 or 2 facilities that offer the type of services that we're looking to provide.
You mean out in Queens?
Out in Queens and Long Island. So I think that it's not going to be the Manhattan prices, but it will be comparable to what is being priced in New York to the other demographics.
I was looking. It's a very transparent from the government side. It shows all the assisted living in the city and the whole state. There were no assisted living in Jamaica. Couldn't find them anyway. There's a bunch in Queens, but there's a concentration down the Rockaways and Forest Hills and some other areas. Did you look relative to where there didn't seem to be other stuff?
Yeah. As you said, there are none in Jamaica right now, and it's one of the most populated parts of Queens. It's a very densely populated part of Queens, and we think that there's that there will be a tremendous demand for that type of facility, with obviously certain. What's also attracting us is being able to provide a higher level of concierge services and a more robust amenity package that you would find in other assisted living facilities.
What would that be? Like, what is? I mean, not to go into like micro details, but what are the kind of things that people expect in this, and you would put in there?
The equivalent of having like an Equinox, right? They want to be able to have higher level of fitness activities, more social activities, a soul cycle, or the assisted living facilities of yesterday are not addressing the baby boomers who are healthy, who are still young, who are still who still have excess disposable income, and will pay for those services, but want to know that they're in an environment, in a community that will provide them the best immediate medical access and supervision and support 24/7, 365 days, and I think that's where our creativity is going to come into play, and being able to ensure that we are continuing to satisfy what they're used to in their lifestyle.
something just occurred to me. This almost sounds like the We Live, except for older people. Is there any kind of overlap between that? Like the idea of you're bringing a kind of a cohort together and experiential side to it?
I think I think that the difference is that the senior component, the older people are looking for this. They are actively looking for it, whether it's them or their children or their loved ones are looking to make sure that they're put into facilities that are going to care for them and provide them whatever support. I think the We Live. I don't know that much about that. I don't know that much about it. I don't know that much.
I don't mean from the side that maybe it's not going to work, but it's the side of like it was the idea that you want to bring these people together and they have a very common interest, and by bringing them together, there will be kind of they will become more happy, and you'll give them all these services. And I think an assisted living provides some of that, like you are providing the services that they need. Have you studied some of the quote competition out there?
Absolutely, we have.
Do you have someone you're like, these guys are doing a great job, and we're
yes, there are several businesses that have been built that are extremely impressive, and there are communities all across North America and Canada that are really enviable and exciting communities that are really providing a true service to that generation of humanity, and we saw that this particular geography has a void, as you noticed. There's a real void here in this geography, and there's a tremendous population that right now resides in this part of Jamaica. I don't know if I should keep looking at you or if I should look at the camera a little bit more. We're extremely excited about it. And I think the way that the sites align that we're buying, being right across the street from each other, there's almost the effect of us being able to build a new gateway in Jamaica that's going to, further elevate the whole submarket.
And you were talking about some other developers that are building stuff coming online soon. Who's that? Who's in the?
I'm not promoting them on your show.
No, just
there's several right now that are open and that are doing really interesting things.
And I assume there were some resi developers that would have been very interested in these. It's basically these two big parcels across the street from each other,
yes.
Former auto showrooms or auto
Correct.
dealerships. Do you know who you were running up against? Were there some just regular developers?
This was, listen, I think this was a really good acquisition that we're doing. I think it's an extremely attractive location. It's a very sizable piece of real estate, and it's a very attractive basis. So that's probably one of the most important things. And the neighborhood is evolving dramatically right now. So I think that it's good timing. It
was being marketed by a Cushman & Wakefield team, and their number was about $30 million. That was just what they had out there for these two sides. They marketed it as about 300,000 buildable, but then with additional bonuses, you can get up to like 400. That's basically what you're looking at.
Correct.
And do you have partners on this right now?
Not yet. We haven't picked any partners, but we'll see who and what we'll invite into the project.
So how does that is that like you get in contract, then you start seeing who is interested, and do you think you'll know within 3 months, or we got to close?
I think we'll close, and after we close, we'll figure out who we'll bring in as a partner, if we'll need a partner. I think we might want to leverage an assisted living operator who, has experience in the space to come and participate with us. So we're looking for that. We're looking for obviously retail tenants, and we would, we've already started a lot of the preliminary feasibility of the site, and we have a very clear understanding of what we can build and what we will, build kind of the allocation between the mixed use project. We also think that there could be the potential of maybe even doing some condominium units.
How do you have an idea of what the mix would be? Like, or how many assisted living units do you think you'll have?
I think at a minimum 100. I think at a minimum 100.
And those are like they're around 600 feet, or do they get from 5 to
I think
something?
I think there's, like I said earlier, there's studios, 1 bedrooms and 2 bedrooms, and you've got to understand what the mix would be between the 3 of them. But I think it's probably somewhere between 5 to 10% of it is the 2 bedrooms, and then is it 50-50 between the studios and the 1 bedrooms, or but there's definitely a mixing between them.
Is there anything different because it's assisted living that a bunch of the space will be used in a certain way that would be unexpected? Is there some kind of, they need like emergency medical facilities on premises or anything?
No, I don't think you're going to have emergency medical. That's not
emergency.
That's,
just like someone.
I think that there will be obviously more. There's going to be you have registered nurses and nurse practitioners and physical therapists and things like that. But as far as any emergency medical facilities, that's all. You're going to a hospital. You're going to a specialist for those types of services. They would not be housed within the project.
But I was thinking that, like the RNs and the physical therapists, so then you might have a space in the building for them.
It's just like having a space for staff, right? It's just like having space for staff in our hotel. There's segregated quarters and lounges and recreational facilities within the hotel. We would be doing the same thing for an assisted living facility.
And the other areas you might think of in the city, like where else do you think would be a good location for more of this assisted living type of developments?
Upper East, Upper West Side. I think the both sides, the Upper East and the Upper West, could use one. I think that we're going to start seeing a lot more people looking into this business and looking to see how they can get involved. And I think it could also be a very interesting readaptive use for office buildings right now. Converting office buildings that are vacant right now and tenants that are not coming back into their spaces. I think that this is another way to readapt an office building.
And some people are talking about readapting hotels into office buildings or something else.
Hotels into
like
office buildings?
It was an office building that had been a hotel that they were at some 40th.
Okay.
Someone was pitching the idea of converting it back to an office building, but I guess it was an office building to begin with. But yeah, with the idea, would it be easy to take? I mean, obviously hotels. There's a bunch of hotels in the city that went through like a bad period. Is there a chance that any of those guys could be converted to this sort of assisted living?
I'm not sure. I think that I think part of the benefit that we have with doing a new ground up construction is that we're going to really be able to do real custom thought out quarters for this type of facility. The program that we have in mind is a real upper upscale product, and I think the demographic that we're going to be catering to is sophisticated, well-traveled, accustomed to a certain lifestyle that they're being given. I don't think you can do the same thing by converting an office building or converting a hotel. There's a lot of hotels that do get converted into assisted living facilities. But I think what we want to do is establish a specific type of program where we're able to build from the ground up and provide real unique amenities and really unique facilities.
And have you started designing it? Do you have an architect pick, that sort of thing?
We're down to 3 architects right now. We've interviewed a lot of we went out robustly with a real RFP process, and we met some incredible people with very interesting ideas. I think we're down to the final selection. So I think within the next 2 weeks we will make a decision with respect to who the architect is going to be.
Are the architects? Is there a group of architects that focus on the assisted living?
I think that architects are more generalists. There are some practitioners that we've met that have a larger book of business that they've executed building assisted living facilities. But it's we've been having really. We've met some incredible firms who understand the thesis and the program that we're looking to execute.
And a similar thing with financing. Are there banks or just other kinds of private lenders that are interested in the space?
Yes, there are. There are actually specific lenders that only focus on this space in various tranches of the capital stack. So we've had preliminary discussions with some of those lenders. In the interim, as we acquire the site, we're going to use traditional bridge financing while we get up to our permits and get ready to start construction. So I think for the first phase, it's a very vanilla financing. There's nothing complicated around it. But I think as we embark on the second phase of really starting construction within 12 to 18 months, once we close, there are definitely specific lenders that focus towards this asset class and towards this use, and we've already started those conversations with them.
And if it seems like this great profitable or potentially profitable venue, how come we're not seeing just like so many more people jump into it?
No, I think it's complicated. It's not very straightforward. It's an operating business. You need to build an operating business. There's a real estate play and there's an operating business out of it. I think that both of those could be extremely lucrative. And I think you're going to start seeing a lot more people getting into that business now that you've spoken about it. I think you're going to start seeing that there's a lot more people that are in that business and that are going to get into that business. There's just such a large portion of the population of Americans right now that need those services. And especially in gateway cities and especially in New York, as the population is aging.
This is a naive question. I should know the answer, but I don't. Is there a difference between assisted living and a nursing home?
Yes, very different.
So nursing home it's been like a.
We are not building a nursing home.
But it's just like the F word or something. It's a tough business to be in. Everybody who's in it gets attacked all the time. And what's the difference? How is this what is it like? Honestly, what is the difference? They're I guess licensed. Is it?
Well, I think the licensure is very different.
But why? Just totally I don't know, because you're in more ill health. You're in a nursing
No,
home,
you're in a more medical. You're almost more in a hospice type of environment. So it's a very regulated segment of it's a very regulated business,
right?
And it's dependent on you also getting paid as a landlord or as an operator from Medicaid and from various government subsidies. So obviously, when that form of income is being underwritten, there's different collection issues, and it's just a very different business. Here, we're looking to have a relationship directly with the consumer who will be paying for their stay, and providing a service directly to them. There is regulation. There are there are subsidies and there are different things, but at the end of the day, your income and your relationship is derived from the person renting the space from you.
Is there a condo version of this, or like a co-op or something? Is there like a next?
No, because I haven't heard of it.
And in terms of being an operator versus being the owner, do you want to get into the operating business? This is closer to like
I think I'm interested. I think that I'm interested in I see an opportunity to build a brand around serving this demographic of the market, and I think candidly it could be quite exciting because the market is very deep.
And do you have anything else you want to add, or any other elements of this that are?
We welcome anybody from your program, from your network who has value to add to the project to reach out to us. And I think that we've all got to keep promoting New York City and everything that we're doing here in New York as the greatest city in the world. And I think that's it.
All right. Well, I want to thank you for taking the time and here in Margaritaville.
Yes. 5 o'clock somewhere. Come and visit. Come and check it out. We've got the best swimming pool in Times Square at Land Shark Bar and Grill. Come and check it out. Adam, thank you so much for having me on your show. This was fun.
Sharif, thanks so much.
Thank you.